What was that?
Perfect.
You want to be that guy?
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Good Monday morning. The beginning.
Wow. Welcome to Decentralized TV, Crypto and Coffee. We talk about crypto, we drink about coffee, and we're glad you're here. I'm the Data Lord. This is Jaime, and we have a fun week. I can already feel it in my bones.
Outstanding. This is going to be another decisive week. Remember, we spoke of the pullback slightly that's supposed to be happening. It may be earlier than expected, which is good for Bitcoin, guys. So do not panic. This is necessary for it to refuel the rocket. Just like Elon's explosion. Everyone thinks the last was a disaster, but no, it was part of the science. It was expected as a ultimate result. If it didn't happen, great. If it did, well, all this what was learned is for the future advancement. Same thing as Bitcoin. So we live on, carry on.
And it's not the type of pullback where like you ran out of money and have to go back to the poll to make money. It's a different kind of. It's different than that. It's not the same.
Absolutely.
It's not the same. It's not the same.
Nope.
So, go ahead and say what's up in the chat. We'll give you a shout out before we jump into our stories. Let's go. Let's do it. So here, let's take a look at the markets in general. We have had a pullback, like Jaime was saying. Bitcoin in the last weeks pulled back, 5.2%. Don't cry. Scoop more bags. Yeah, baby. So Ethereum, little brother, doing the same thing at a lesser level. I know that's so surprising, isn't it?
Actually, no. It's the altcoin beginning. It seems that Bitcoin's just going to find its footing where it's going to hover for a little bit. And now we should see a nice little pump on the little children running out while Bitcoin recharges its battery.
On the chillins. Ripple feeling the same damage. Cardano feeling the same damage. That's a lot of damage. Dogecoin even had a pullback, and I think this is good. Let's scoop some bags, huh? Not financial advice, but I got a few bags of Dogecoin. Not financial advice. I got a few bags of Polygon. Solana, interestingly, if you're into trading things that have a lot of news around them, Solana's got an interesting pickup position right now too. Not really supporting Solana long term. Maybe they will go proof of, stake decentralized, not proof of stake centralized, but who knows? We'll see. And then Polkadot doing the same thing as like Solana's little brother. So not surprised to see any of this. But here's the thing I am surprised to see. Litecoin. Litecoin has a pullback that's mirroring Bitcoin's. And I want us to keep a sharp eye, a very, very keen eye on Litecoin in the next 3 months. So anytime we see Litecoin red, we might want to look at the key levels and see if it's a good entry position, because Litecoin's about to go through a halving.
Yes.
We all know it, and I will check on that when I do a little bit of TA on Litecoin. But
Litecoin is kind of like the what's our little guy that comes out every February, and based on if it sees groundhog. That's our little groundhog for Bitcoin, everyone. So it's early. Let's find out what she does.
Yeah, and just on the quick here, I won't spend too much time on this here, but this is my Bitcoin chart. Jaime is looking at much bigger macros than I am. I'm looking at more the swing trade opportunities. So I like this pullback. I had this position right here, made about 9% off of that move. Cool. The reason I didn't do these other trades is because it didn't look sure to me. So until I see certainty, where like a high degree of confidence it's going to do certain things, I don't enter a position. Right.
That's wise words.
This is for trading. This is not for DCA. DCA, you just buy and hold and you don't think about it.
Yep. Take some
That's
edge
why
off
DCA gets its value, right? But you can see on the hour chart, Bitcoin's kind of hitting this key level. The question is, are we going to hold 27.7? We bounced right off it. We had one tiny little wick that came down to 27.5, and then we wicked right back up. So clearly people who are trading feel like there's resistance right around 27.5. I'm sorry, support
Yes.
27.5. You're right, and it's bouncing right off of that. We're gonna probably test that level a few times, but this right here was the level we tested, and you can see we went past it, but it wasn't able to hold for very long at all, like minutes. So
Interesting.
So if you're trading Bitcoin, could this be a key level to pick up at? Maybe. I mean, I'd like to see entries closer to raw dog 27, not we'll see. And Jaime will give a lot of clarity on that. I want to rip through these other altcoins real quick.
Let's do it.
Dogecoin. This is the day view of Dogecoin. It hasn't had a huge pump in a while, and Dogecoin typically runs on a sine wave cycle. And so if you were to zoom out, you'll see it kind of pumps on like a sine wave pretty consistently. And we're a bit due for one. So what I think is going to happen is when Litecoin has its halving, we're going to see a lot of Dogecoin movement because Dogecoin and Litecoin are paired, being that they're both mined together. People who have script ASICs are also mining Dogecoin and Litecoin. You can dual mine. You can basically submit your hash to both networks is how it works. So I think if Litecoin pumps, Dogecoin will pump too. I don't know that for a fact, but historically that's been what we've observed.
It looks juicy, Brandon. I mean,
So,
it looks
you
very
can call
juicy.
me either. My mom calls me things other than that, like butthead and things like that too. But so look at Dogecoin. I think we have some really nice entry points here. We're clearly in my red band. So anything, in my view, not financial advice, but this is how I'm thinking of it. Anything under 27, 26 Satoshis is a pickup. And why aren't I looking at Dogecoin over the USD? Good question. Well, Dogecoin has been traded over BTC for its entire history of existing. It was only pretty recent that Dogecoin was paired with USDT and actually, considered that way. So I think the majority of the market is still looking at Dogecoin over BTC, and certainly the miners are. So that's why I look at it over this level here. So 27.26 is my personal level. Anything lower than that is a good pickup for a hold before we have a big pump. So Matic, we have had a pullback on Matic. I think that's a good thing. We're in my interest band. So, we're going past this key level right here, and we're under it at the moment. We're right at the support level. So my thought is anything under 94.30 is probably a good entry point if it doesn't proceed down to these lower levels, right? But if you look at the big picture on Matic, it has a lot of headroom that it's proven it can do. And who's to say we don't beat higher highs during the next altcoin cycle?
Just because
Polygons,
yeah.
they've been building, and they're unblocking the Ethereum network. So I don't want you to sleep on the actual legitimate value they're bringing. They have the best NFT experience you can find right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Litecoin, our faithful and true here we've been talking about. So yeah, I've entered a position here because we fell into my key levels. So what I'm doing is just trying to pick up Litecoin whenever it's on the low, and I'm holding it for the next key levels. So right around August 2nd, we're going to see the halving happen, and according to past charts, around middle of June, we expect to see, if history repeats itself, a really big pump right around that time, roughly 8 weeks prior to the halving itself. We typically see a big run up, and then a bunch of other people FOMO and get sold on. So we'll see what happens. But I'm aiming for middle of June. That's only 5 weeks or so from now. So we have, according to history, and I'm expecting this, 5 weeks until we have a really big movement on Litecoin. We'll see if history repeats itself. But either way, scoop your bags if you want to follow this historical value. Anything under 82 right now is a good pickup over USDT, right?
Not financial advice to your
No,
producer.
and I'm an idiot, and I'm not freaking sharing this. I'm like pointing at stuff. Shame on me. Jaime, you should get me on that. I'm not scolding you, I'm scolding me. So what I was saying is anything under 82 here, according to historical values, looks to be good. It's not financial advice, but historically we have precedent for it on the charts. So what I'm personally doing is anything under 82 is a ideal pickup. And then pay attention to this. This is the halving of Litecoin. In 86 days, we're going to be at our halving. And so ideally, we're going to see, something around 4 to 6 weeks prior to this, a big pump if history repeats itself. So that's my look at the altcoins. Jaime, do you want to pull out your BTC chart?
Let's whip it out. Here she comes. Let's go. All right, guys. So as we spoke on Friday, what we wanted to do was watch on Sunday how it closed. And here was the closing. Bitcoin closed at around 28,600. We are now sitting at 27,800. So it's about $800 cheaper at the moment. Where are we watching? What are we watching at this moment? Well, we are watching that 200 weekly moving average. So I'm on the weekly, and we are expecting a bounce or a tap d'amour right here at the 26,100 level, more or less. It could wick down, fine, even tap the 25,300 level as a wick. But here's where I expect a buy to occur. Or if not, worst case scenario, we have 22,037 level. Now, here's where you see a lot of details in terms of the financial, my apologies, in terms of the Gaussian channel. What we're looking at here is Bitcoin. Again, there is confluence at this level right here we're looking at, and see the median. The median has always proven itself to be the one that's coming down as a very strong support level. So that's where we can see the wick. On top of that, we have a weekly level just below it. So this is a concrete floor we expect Bitcoin to come and test as support. Otherwise, we will move on down and test the bottom of the Gaussian channel with the 50 weekly moving average as the next floor, which ranges anywhere between 22,100 down to the 21,000 level. These are good levels. This one is quite strong. So worst case scenario, let's say we do not confirm it as full support. More likely, we should see a slight bounce at least to confirm, and then a pullback. Otherwise, this area is a pretty good area to have not all in. Always break down your funds into manageable levels, so you're not all in and then it loses the floor. Never go all in on anything. Just do your risk management, and that's how you can grow without losing your shirt on a black swan event, for example. You leave the rest of the funds for unforeseen circumstances where you can scoop up even better. Remember the oil, when COVID broke out, oil was even in negative territory, which was unheard of. It had never happened. And a lot of people had enough funds to jump on it and made a killing in it. So same thing with Bitcoin, same thing with any investment. Always have a cash reserve just in case of the unforeseen, and that should keep you safe. So what are we watching for this week? We're watching at the 26,100 down to the 25,300. That range should be a nice little range to scoop up a bag. I will not be as greedy as I was last time where I missed it by $59.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. This is one of those areas we're watching for this week. So
yeah, the latter buys are definitely the move. And you won't always get the best or worst price, and that's okay. It's kind of taking some of the principles of DCA and applying it to trading. You can say, hey, I think this is the key level, so a little bit above, a little bit below, and you just creates steps, and so that as you hit those levels, it just secures your position within a range.
Absolutely.
Pretty prudent. Yeah.
And one of the results of Bitcoin testing this as support and confirming it as support is we should see a nice little altcoin season during this, because now it'll prove to the world that we are in a trading zone where we're building market structure, where it will stay even, and that gives the little fish an opportunity to go out and play, and that's where you start with these trades. So look at the timing of things. It's almost like all the analysis that Brandon Data Lord was sharing with us are aligning in terms of Bitcoin now demonstrating to the world, here's the support zone, and now we're just going to stay range bound for a little bit, giving the opportunity for these trades and these signals that the charts are showing for an alt rally, Ethereum rally, everything not Bitcoin rally season. So get ready, guys.
Yeah, I would say prepare thine loins.
Gird your
Prepare thy loins. Yeah. So let's go ahead and turn up in the chat. Giving shout outs to people. What's up? What's up? So we got Salty Prepper hitting us first with a big yo.
Good morning, Salty Prepper.
Yeah. He yellowed into that Pepe. Well, good luck with your spec trade, my friend.
Hey, man.
Yeah. Happy Monday here, Indo. Yeah. I see you, brother.
Good morning,
JV. Good morning. We got Codebug in the house. Good to see you, brother.
Good morning, Codebug.
Hope you're well. Boston crushing it.
Good morning.
Showing up. I'm assuming your boo. She's just behind. What's up, Just Bossy? If you're not in the chat. And then we got Rob T with the what's up. Good morning, all.
Fantastic.
Well, thank you for full house here. Let's get into some stories. Shall we?
Let's go.
So the BRC20, I gotta fix this view. What the hell am I doing, boy? So the BRC20, if you didn't know, now you know. Bitcoin had an upgrade called Taproot, and Taproot allows us to have new messages on Bitcoin that are similar to ERC20 tokens, which means we can put new features on Bitcoin. How's that? So let's read about it. Here's all you need to know about the new standard on the Bitcoin blockchain. So get all your questions answered in this concise FAQ. Continue on. So what are BRC20 tokens? BRC20 tokens are an experimental token standard on the Bitcoin blockchain, modeled after Ethereum's ERC20 tokens. They allow programmers to create and send fungible tokens. So you can do NFTs on Bitcoin via the Ordinals protocol. Okay. BRC20 tokens have gained popularity in the crypto ecosystem, particularly with the rise of meme coins. So everyone's talking about Pepe coin or PP coin, whatever you want to call it. That is on the BRC20 protocol. Do you understand that? So what's interesting is they're using meme coins in order to prove the legitimate use case of the technology. And now people have a precedent to go, oh, hey, look, it's actually legit. It really works, even though people rushed in just to make a quick buck on some PP coin, you know. You gotta love it. Question 2, who created the BRC20 token standard? The BRC20 token standard was created in March by a pseudonymous on-chain analyst called Domo, aka @DomoData on Twitter. The objective was to make it possible for fungible tokens to be issued and transferred on the Bitcoin blockchain. So how do BRC20 tokens differ from ERC20 tokens? Well, although BRC20 tokens are modeled after ERC20 tokens, there are some fundamental differences, okay? So here's the differences. BRC20 tokens are built on the Bitcoin blockchain as opposed to the ERC20 tokens being built on the Ethereum blockchain, which we know that means Bitcoin's proof of work, meaning miners are actually hashing, problems, as opposed to ERC20s on Ethereum. That means it's proof of stake. So the BRC20s are more secure, backed by proof of work, as opposed to ERC20s are still secure, but not as secure, being their proof of stake. Okay. The BRC20 tokens do not make use of smart contracts. So Bitcoin doesn't yet have smart contracts on it. That wouldn't make sense to have proof of work do smart contracts. That's why proof of stake exists. Proof of stake is ideal for smart contracts because smart contracts require a different type of computing than simple ledgers might, right? So smart contracts have a lot more information on them, and they have to be able to run quickly. And so running on proof of work, the security mechanism in proof of work isn't fast. Period. That's why it's so secure. It's not fast,
Correct.
right?
So it should be used as a ledger
Yeah.
of transactions, not data.
And so here's what's cool is some data can be stored on a BRC20 token to be used as like validation. And then some other smart contract extensions can tie to that validation on the BRC20 token network and use ERC20 to actually run the smart contracts and all the sophisticated elements there with the sophisticated security of Bitcoin. So to mint and trade BRC20 tokens, users need a Bitcoin wallet, whereas Ethereum wallet is required for ERC20 tokens, right? You have to have a wallet to have content on the blockchain, period. So how has the BRC20 token market grown recently? The BRC20 token market has experienced explosive growth in recent months in a very short time. The BRC20 token market capitalization has jumped to 928 million with more than 13,530 tokens in circulation. So people have just jumped on this out of nowhere. The adoption is real. The use case is real. And I think it's here to stay. There's a lot of Bitcoin maxis who don't like any use of Bitcoin that wasn't original. But I would argue that even even the Lightning Network is functionally not what Bitcoin was originally intended to have. So I think there's a little bit of pick and choose with some Bitcoin maxis. But question 5, what are some popular BRC20 tokens? So Ordi and Pepe or PP, whatever you want to call it, Pizza, Meme, and Moon. So all of those are BRC20 tokens. And you'll see these pumping, and they're pumping because people are pumping this idea of Bitcoin having BRC20 tokens. It's not even about the memes. The memes are fun, but the BRC20 functionality is the piece that's actually important here, right? So question 6, how have BRC20 tokens impacted the Bitcoin ecosystem? This is important. The rise of BRC20 tokens has significantly impacted the Bitcoin ecosystem. Transactions have outperformed the original number of Bitcoin transactions, reaching over 50% between April 29th and May 2nd. So what this has done is thrown a lot more use case on Bitcoin. And we've had this conversation for a while that like we have to see an increase of adoption on Bitcoin. Well, some people don't want to transact, value on Bitcoin because the fees are much bigger than some other networks they could pick. But I think to get more people using it, they might use it just because they want to trade some ERC20s or some BRC20s, right? Just because they want to flip script on some, speculative trades. They're using the Bitcoin network, and that's paying Bitcoin miners fees, right? And so that's the second piece. Transaction fees on the Bitcoin network have surged due to increased BRC20 token activity, generating additional revenue for miners. And how much? 103 Bitcoin in that rough time frame was added to Bitcoin miners getting paid. And so lots of people have asked this question, right? What happens when the halvings have progressed to the point where there's not very much introduction of supply paid to miners? Like, what are they getting paid? They're getting paid fees. That's what's happening here. They're getting paid transaction fees, and they're getting paid still to keep the network secure. It's just the introduction of supply is no longer the cut. And this is proving how quickly we can see that switch tip over just with a few more use cases on Bitcoin. So
whenever they say, what happens when they mint the last Bitcoin, complete the idea with the person asking the question, saying, hey, Bitcoin mining will always be profitable. Today, it's the minting that everyone's chasing and not so much the fee. But by the time the last Bitcoin is minted, the fee will be commensurate with the other. So it's all about engineering.
It'll end up getting more stable is what I really anticipate it happening. Right now it's very speculative, and so sometimes it's very profitable, much more over other times. But I think we're going to see the mining rewards really stabilize. So Yeah, here's some big questions for you. Like, how can I use the BRC20 tokens on Ethereum or other blockchains? So BRC20 tokens are designed specifically for the Bitcoin blockchain. They can't be used directly on Ethereum or other blockchains. However, it's possible to create bridges or cross-chain solutions that enable transfer value between different blockchains. So this is what I want us to pay attention to as we're looking for what technology to be investing in and to be, reading and paying attention to. Anything that creates a bridge from this technology to other blockchains is something I would personally see as bullish. Okay.
Yes.
We see Cosmos Atom doing a ton of cross blockchain work with IBC coming up, inter blockchain connector. We see Ethereum having issues, and then Polygon Matic pops in and says, hey, we can help with that. There's a lot of solutions that are starting to pop up, and I want you to pay attention to that, because anything that is going to allow an extension of functionality to Bitcoin, I would be betting on. Not financial advice, but that's how I'm thinking of these things. So how do I mint and trade BRC20 tokens? To mint and trade BRC20 tokens, you will need a Bitcoin wallet compatible with the BRC20 standard. Once you have a suitable wallet, you can follow the token's issuer's instructions to mint or purchase tokens, and later trade them on a compatible decentralized or centralized exchange. And what's the future outlook on BRC20 tokens? As the BRC20 token standard is relatively new, its future outlook is uncertain. The rapid growth of the market capitalization and transaction volumes indicates strong interest in BRC20 tokens, particularly in the meme sector. So what's brilliant about this is we can use memes to basically pump Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining. So we can keep Big Daddy Bitcoin attractive to noobs coming into the space, just trying to get rich quick, because we know that's what attracts new people into the space, and that's fine. And we can have that benefit Bitcoin instead of just altcoins. And I think that's important.
Hey, whatever floats their boat, that's what they're coming for. So
that's it. So I hope this was new information for you. Let us know in the chat if you learned some new stuff here. I know not everyone's got the gut for new information, but that's what we do here. So too bad. So U.S. responds to massive BRICS expansion effort as nations push to launch global currency and ditch the dollar. So, man, we live in interesting times. I'll say that.
mm-hmm.
And
it's historic. Like it's happened to every empire, every country in history. So why can't it happen to the US dollar?
Yeah,
we just got to look at the
PP
facts,
coin
guys.
empire now.
Yeah.
PP coin empire. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Indo's on it. Let's go start meme coins on BTC. Respect
PP
the pump on. I know, dude. I know. So let's read this. The U.S. State Department is responding to reports that the group of economically aligned nations known as BRICS is preparing for a major expansion. The group, which plans to launch a global currency to compete with the US dollar, has drawn interest from more than a dozen countries that want to join in. The list of potential newcomers includes several nations across Africa, and State Department officials tell Fox News that current U.S. policy will not interfere with African or other nations looking to join in. Interesting. We lead an affirmative agenda for Africa, demonstrating the benefits of our governance and economic models. U.S. policy does not ask our partners to choose between the United States and other countries. State Department officials say the agency's intent with international partners is focused on boosting democratic governance, human rights, and economic opportunity, as opposed to controlling economic alliances. Interesting. The list of members that reportedly want to join BRICS includes Saudi Arabia, Iran, Egypt, Bahrain, Algeria, Argentina, and Indonesia, as well as 3 additional undisclosed nations in Africa. Foreign ministers representing the 5 current BRICS members will meet in June to discuss expansion efforts and the group's push to create a new currency that will likely be pegged to gold and potentially additional assets. So this is the part that's interesting here, and potentially additional assets. So my question is, could BRICS, in its additional assets, have some Bitcoin element to it backing it? Because if so, I think that's good for Bitcoin adoption and Bitcoin price. Okay. And period, people seeing a competitor to the US dollar for other sovereign nations, that alone will push people into Bitcoin because they're considering the lack of stability in some other sovereign currencies. So, I mean, what's your take on this one?
Yeah, it's a hedge, really. I mean,
Yeah.
there's been the problem, and now you're wondering why other countries like Argentina and these others. It's because if you look at their financials, they've gone against the US dollar in terms of the comparison. The US dollar as a
Mhm.
foreign settled, from their perspective, foreign settled currency, they have to keep their peso, Argentinian peso, on par. The problem is they've had inflation up to almost 100%. So what
Yeah.
that means is that for them to pay back the debt from the International Monetary Fund, world, like the big financials or the United States, where they settle their transactions at, it's impossible to keep up. The moment the states raises interest rates, that goes globally, and now Argentina cannot pay even the interest. So it creates a meltdown. Thus, the interest of creating or finding an alternate
Mhm.
settlement value instead of the dollar, allowing them to have not to be so sunk in debt that they implode, financially speaking. So that's why you see this huge interest coming up. It's not out of disloyalty or anything else. It's mere survival, guys. So
Yeah.
that's where we look at hedges, and Bitcoin on the personal level is one of mine against this whole historic that has been happening for thousands of years, ever since currency existed, the depreciation and inflation against it, where it just disappears as a standard.
Yeah, agreed. And when it comes to feeding your family, that is existential. So you're gonna see
Yep,
people do what's necessary to take care of their booins, right?
absolutely.
You gotta take care of your boo. Speaking of boo, what's up, Gundy? I see you. I got you. Gundy's not my boo, but he's my homie. Uh, what's up, brother? And
Good
then
morning.
we also have Coca-Cola. I see you here.
Coca-Cola, one of my
You're
favorite drinks
giving
out
shout
there.
outs to Ethereum Classic. It looks like that's cool. I rock with Ethereum Classic. We're cool.
Heck yeah.
And
Got a t-shirt too.
just bossy. I see you, girl.
Good
Good
morning,
morning
just
here.
bossy.
I'm glad you're alive and well. And so let's keep going here. So Binance is in the news headlines. What happened? Well, Binance resumes Bitcoin withdrawals after a second pause, saying it adjusted fees and is integrating the Lightning Network. Let's go. This is a good thing. Um, so some people might see this as FUD, like Binance had to halt withdrawals for a period of time. But anytime you're working on a production system, you do have to do this. Like anytime you're working on someone's car, you have to take the keys from them. They can't drive it when the mechanics are working on the car. If the mechanics will get hurt, and your car will get hurt. You don't want to do that. Yeah, it'll be
Lose
a
some
two-front
fingers.
system. CBDCs and all the other surviving cryptos. Yeah,
Gundy, you're dead on.
probably.
You're dead
Yeah.
on that. I mean, a lot of people are like, "Oh, the bank's failing is Bitcoin." No, it's also pro
Mhm.
CBDC,
Yeah.
because we're going to end up with a central bank token with a monopoly running the entire operation. So when you see banks fail, you think it's only Bitcoin. No, CBDCs when that, and FedCoin is coming out now in June. So
Mhm.
we're converging. There's going to be a historic event occurring in
Mhm.
June, July, and man, there's going to be fireworks, guys. We'll deep dive into it down the road. Let's
Yeah.
not just distract from here.
FedCoin, also known as F that coin. Binance resumes Bitcoin withdrawals, though. So let's look at what happened. So Binance has once again resumed Bitcoin withdrawals after a second pause as the Bitcoin network suffers from unprecedented congestion. So why did this congestion happen? PP coin. That's really the reason. I'm not being funny.
Yeah,
That's really the reason it got choked up. And so a lot of Bitcoin maxis
too much PP.
are critical of this because PP's clogging the pipes. It happens.
I see what you did there.
Look, I get it. It happens. And sometimes when that happens, you gotta figure out a solution. So, what is the solution? Lightning Network. Lightning Network makes things go faster, and I think if anything, what's happening is these meme coins are putting stress on the Bitcoin network, and that's creating demand for the Lightning Network to actually be used all over the place. So I think this is good. Legit, I think it's good that more and more people are going to be integrating Litecoin Network as a necessity, because that proves the use case. I hear a lot of people say, well, Bitcoin's, yeah, it's an old dinosaur, it's slow, whatever. Well, with Lightning Network, it isn't, right? It's quite fast, and it's way more secure than anything else you're going to find. So I see this as being pretty bullish. We're replacing the pending BTC withdrawal transactions with a higher fee, so they get picked up by mining pools. And I clicked on something like an idiot. No, we aim to reopen the BTC withdrawals in the next hour. So it wasn't down for that long. BTC withdrawals are now resumed on Binance. Pending transactions are being processed by replacing them with higher transaction fees, and we'll post another update once these pending transactions are all processed. So that's what happens, though. If you don't use Lightning Network, you have to basically pay more money, higher transaction fees, in order to incentivize miners to pick up your block, right? And that's what makes Bitcoin really expensive to use. The Lightning Network fixes that issue, because the Lightning Network makes it so the timing is no longer important. You can have something exist on the Lightning Network, and then once it's all ready, in one fell swoop, it just settles on the Bitcoin network and is properly secured that way. So Binance briefly paused Bitcoin withdrawals for around 2 hours Sunday afternoon US time, as the number of unconfirmed transactions hits a record high. Its second pause, taking place Sunday evening US time, was also just over 2 hours. To prevent a similar reoccurrence in the future, our fees have been adjusted. We will continue to monitor on-chain activity and adjust accordingly if needed, Binance said in a tweet. Our team has also been working on enabling the BTC Lightning Network withdrawals, which help in such situations. The
They're
number
building.
of unconfirmed, they are building.
They're building. I'm telling you, they're adjusting, they're building, they're watching the network. If you want to see someone using Bitcoin,
Yeah.
this is an example of it.
And keep in mind, we're in a bear market right now, dude.
Yep.
Like they're paying attention. Like, if we have issues in a bear market, let's get this right before we hit a bull market, because
That's true.
like you want to see the pipes clogged up with pee. Like, let's go into a bull market. You're gonna see
EP's
those
only going to
pipes.
get chubbier, guys, so be careful.
Yeah. The meme use case is real. So
Yes.
the number of unconfirmed transactions was approaching 500,000 when the second halt took place, around 400,000 when the first pause occurred. It is now beginning to decline and is currently just over 430,000 over a 12-hour period. So drip, drip, drip. It's just it's going slow, is what it is. The price of Bitcoin continues to drift downward and is now at 28,240, down 2.6% in the last 24 hours. And CoinGecko data shows Binance has significantly slid in its position for Bitcoin trading volume and is no longer in the top 10 exchanges for Bitcoin trading pairs. And that's just a short-term blip. I'm sure Binance is probably the best user experience of any exchange on
Absolutely.
For trading, at least. So interesting. This makes me bullish on the Lightning Network. If anything, this makes me bullish on other companies seeing Binance lead and go, maybe we should do that too.
And
because you're going to lose on a ton of money. You're going to lose a ton of transaction fee and trading fee money if you're an exchange, and in a bear market you're choking. You're gonna get hurt.
Yep.
Like,
They
bad.
want greased lightning, baby. Greased lightning.
baby. So interesting story. Here's our headline here. Top think tank warns insolvent banks lurking in the ecosystem, or lurking in the system, as 200 US lenders face risks. So there's over 200 banks and lenders in the United States who are not solvent, meaning they've played funny money games hoping that it would just be a blip on the map, and it dragged out longer than they thought, and they don't have the means possibly to keep going, which means we're going to see bigger fish eat the smaller fish, because the smaller fish are slower and weaker, and they're prime and juicy and taste like hibachi. So,
and what sucks about this is there's supposed to be limits for competition, competitiveness, and they're being completely done aside, and now we're seeing a monopoly rise out of this with approvals from the government side, the Fed side. So
Mhm.
this is not good for the small and common and commercial regional
Right.
clients. So watch this carefully.
Yeah. If anything, this makes me more bullish on decentralized systems.
Yes.
Because these centralized systems have these issues. This kind of crap just happens, dude. Um, and Gundy asked a good question. What happens to my PP? It fall down. Well, sometimes it goes up and it goes down, and that's just the way nature intended,
Depends
right?
on the time of day sometimes.
Yeah, the price action will always move around. Um, the widening concerns in the United States banking sector have raised the alarm among experts, who now predict the more lenders will likely face insolvency. And I'm not surprised to see that, but I hate to see it. It's sad, but where where one employee may not do right, there's going to be another employee who will take their job. That's just how it works,
Yes.
where one solution fails, another solution will take its place. It's just, you have to be a good steward or else you get taken. So
Yep.
analysts at the Hoover Institution think tank have specifically highlighted that several US banks are already facing losses, and the involvement of these lenders in the system has led to concerns over an acceleration of bank runs. This money reported on May 6th. The crisis has reportedly impacted around 200 lenders whose sustainability was further threatened following the recent interest rate hike. So interest rates go up, it decentivizes people from taking out loans because now they're more expensive. People are like, I'll wait till interest rates go down to remodel my house. I'll wait till interest rates go down to build out the second wing of my business. Like it slows down borrowing. But the other issue with that is if it slows down borrowing, people in the economy aren't seeing money move hands as quickly. And so that's the other flip on this is
So
if it's harder
credit
to get
freezes.
loans, it's harder to spend money
Yes.
and keep it moving in different hands. So this kind of bites in two ways, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's too fast because all
Yeah.
these banks that are failing now, they were giving the playing field of, hey man, as part of your business model, buy treasury bonds. But the interest rate is so low that they can't even make the payments on their daily because the interest is so high. They don't have where to grab and
Mhm.
cover these gaps that are appearing. And that's where they say there's no more quantitative easing, but there
Mhm.
sure is a quantitative easing internal to the banks that's going on
Yeah.
right now, led by JP Morgan.
Yeah.
So,
It feels a little timely, buddy. Um,
yeah.
Notably, the speed at which bank runs have been happening has become a cause for concern among officials, especially with the impact of social media. This was highlighted by the fact that 3 of the 4 biggest bank failures in US history have occurred in the last 2 months, which is considered a unique and alarming situation. There's a hole in banking balance sheet. So according to Ciru, the analysis of the banking sector indicated that the industry was facing shortages in its balance sheet, while noting the recent collapse were not unusual. So what they're saying is like, just because there's collapses, like that's not out of order. But what is weird is that you're seeing more people say, I don't trust the bank to pay me back. So I'm going to take
Right.
my money out of the bank. But the bank's like, yo, we need that to be able to do these all these loans. So they kind of find themselves in a rock and a hard place. And the only way that that gets fixed is someone else with a lot of money comes along and scoops you up, you know? So it is worth noting that the crisis began with the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank. The situation was accelerated following the recent collapse of First Republic Bank. The bank's assets were sold to JP Morgan Chase in a deal aimed at resolving the largest US bank failure since the 2008 financial crisis. And JP Morgan was involved in the 2008 financial crisis. They were square in the middle of that whole fiasco. And so it's not surprising to see them in the middle again. And it seems like this is a little too convenient. They probably have been working with some buddies to pull some strings to corner the market, is kind of what it looks like to me.
Oh yeah. Without a doubt. I mean, there's a reason they are available on the weekends and the first ones, even though there's other bidders coming in, they
Mhm.
keep winning the bids. So it's becoming a monopoly here.
Jamie Dimon.
Yep.
And Jamie, keep in mind, JP Morgan Chase's CEO Jamie Dimon says Bitcoin is a scam. So I think what he means to say is Bitcoin is opposed to his agenda. his agenda is
Bottom line.
centralization of power, not decentralization of power. So, but that
Absolutely.
doesn't mean he's not flipping Bitcoin. You better believe he's flipping Bitcoin.
And you watch the Fed coin somehow is going to use JP Morgan as one of its key rails for deployment. Intrabank first, then to the people later.
Yeah, cue fart noise on the soundboard. I don't have a soundboard at the moment because I'd overuse it. We've talked about it. I'm pretty sure I'd just be an ADHD kid pushing buttons, so I can't do it. I can't do it. In the meantime, market attention has shifted to PacWest Bancorp, a Los Angeles-based bank. The bank has entered into talks with potential partners and investors to explore strategic options, leading to a slump in its share price. This development has rekindled market fears of a worsening banking crisis, dragging down the share prices of other regional lenders. So attention on Bitcoin, right? This is why we're all here. With the US banking sector in turmoil, investors are exploring alternative assets, with Bitcoin emerging as a favorable option. Notably, the maiden cryptocurrency has capitalized on the situation by attaining a new multiple month high. In this line, Validus Power Corp's executive director Greg Foss has noted that Bitcoin can act as insurance for the crisis in the fiat and general financial sector. So, did you hear what this just said? The banking industry may use Bitcoin as a hedge because they know that it has decoupled price action from their nonsense. So whenever bad things happen in the banking space, you'll see Bitcoin is honey badger. You don't care. You just
Right.
keep going.
It goes
Right.
opposite to the bank.
And so they want a little piece of that honey badger is what it looks like. Which it's a good idea. I mean, its very existence means their existence is irrelevant for the most part, except for loans. I think loans are probably the only place the banking sector still has a use case, even with Bitcoin's adoption.
But under the fractional reserve, that's a dangerous thing for during bear markets. It's great during bull markets or up markets, but it's extremely dangerous to receive only 10% and you make loans up to 90% of what you've been given. It's a
I think that needs to be reeled back. This whole
that's
it
what
kind of
DeFi is
reminds
trying
me
to
of
do.
like cartoons though, like you know, on like old like Bugs Bunny cartoons where like they're walking a plank and then they just keep walking on thin air and they turn back and look and like, oh, there's no ground underneath me. Like that's kind of what I see fractional reserve lending doing is it's like just act confident, no one will know.
Yeah, that's a rug pull for sure
Yeah, it's bad
during bear markets and
so
recessions.
in this line, Validus Power Corp's executive director has noted Bitcoin can act as insurance for the crisis in the fiat and the general financial sector. And I think we're going to see that. You can look at Bitcoin as being insurance on the failure of a basket of fiat currencies. Bitcoin is a free and open market. It's a thing of beauty, and it means different things to different people. It can get valued in a whole lot of different ways. Ultimately, it settles on the market. He pointed out that Bitcoin is unmanipulated, while terming fiat as a Ponzi scheme manipulated by individuals such as Jerome Powell, the Federal Reserve Chair. And I mean, I don't know about Jaime, but that's my position too.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I can't speak for Jaime, I should say. Is this good for Bitcoin? It looks like it's good for Bitcoin. That's the takeaway here. And Gundy says Jamie Dimon is a turd. What a clown. Yeah.
He
Pray
knows what he's
for your
doing.
enemies is the whole deal, you know. Like,
He knows what
who
he's
knows?
doing.
Maybe he'll become a Bitcoin maxi. You never know.
He may be. I would not be surprised he's hedging. I mean, if you're someone that's brilliant and at the helm of one of the most powerful banks in the world currently, I would be hedging myself with gold and Bitcoin as a insurance policy if this grand scheme fails for any reason.
I'd say so. And our next article, just to keep her moving, bud. Artificial intelligence industry leaders meet with the White House to discuss society's security. And so I think this is important for us to keep paying attention to, because this could very well affect Bitcoin quite a bit. Artificial intelligence has prompted the White House to take action by announcing several measures aimed at addressing the technology's challenges. These measures come in response to growing popularity of artificial intelligence tools such as ChatGPT and the increasing concerns regarding potential risks for misinformation, privacy, and other pressing issues. As part of these efforts, United States Vice President Kamala Harris held a meeting on Thursday with the CEO of 4 prominent companies focused on AI development. Additionally, the Biden administration plans to invest $140 million of your money to invest 7 new research institutes focused on AI. Administration officials provided a preview of this initiative to reporters, highlighting the government's commitment to advancing artificial intelligence research and development. We have to, regardless of administration, we have to make sure we don't sleep on AI, because it'll slip right past us. So VP Harris administration officials discuss AI risks with tech CEOs. So on Thursday, Harris and officials from the administration held talks with the CEO from Alphabet, which is Google, Anthropic, Microsoft, and OpenAI to address the potential dangers of current AI development. CNN reported that Joe Biden unexpectedly joined the meeting. A White House representative stated that Biden was extensively briefed on ChatGPT and even tried it out for himself. That's good. He could really benefit from it, I think. According to a readout released after the meeting, the White House stressed the importance of mitigating the current and potential risks that AI poses to individuals, society, and national security. So Harris and Biden reportedly expressed that realizing the benefits of AI's advances necessitates reducing these risks. The government leaders urged the tech companies to collaborate with the government to help decrease these risks. And I have mixed feelings about this. Like, AI is certainly a threat and could even be a sovereign nation threat. And just the same, I'm concerned about the government using it to expedite propaganda and make it more effective. And there's things like that I'm concerned that people aren't prepared for. But the White House to provide guidance on federal use of artificial intelligence. And this is what they're saying publicly, so who knows what they're saying in private. The White House Office of Management and Budget is preparing to release guidelines in the coming months of how federal agencies can use AI tools. In addition, the top AI developers have pledged to participate in a public evaluation of their systems at the DEF CON hacker conventions in Vegas in August. The emergence of ChatGPT chatbot this year has sparked debate about the government's role in AI technology. The fact that AI can generate writings and images that are indistinguishable from human-generated ones has raised ethical and societal concerns. Jaime, I mean, what do you think we even do with this reality here? Like, can you put the genie back in the bottle is my question.
No, you can't.
Like,
you really can't. But
yeah,
this is the same fears that transpired. I know most viewers aren't as old as I am, but the big belief was back then when the computers were coming out, going from mainframe to PCs, the huge fear of robotics and computers at the time was that they would replace humans, because there were quite a few things where the common people that didn't have that exposure would believe things like, hey, the sun is going to explode in 200,000 years. Why? Because the computer said so. And what people forget is shit in, shit out. If you don't put in good data set into the technology, you are going to get inaccurate, incorrect, or blatant lies out of the system looking legitimate. This is the same thing with AI, and this is the danger with AI is, okay, remember when it was first released and stock market went crazy over it and so many others, and yet people were discovering huge biases built into the AI system. So now the big question is, okay, what truth am I being fed on the
Mhm.
feedback side? So that's where we have to keep our eyes open. And can it replace? I no, humans still have morals, still have quite a few other constructs in our society that AI does not.
Yeah.
So anyone that wants to put AI as a decision maker where the stakeholders are humans, I don't think that's going to come soon because of the risk. Even Elon has launched an AI um, counter to
X,
race,
yeah.
yes, to go against or to counterweigh what's this rush for AI to come out here. So yes,
Mhm.
it's going to be more difficult to distinguish a human versus AI generated content, but we still
Mhm.
have our thought process, education, logic to determine true or false.
Well,
And
and
so,
I think the risk here though is that you can at scale deploy agents, right? Like you can have propaganda agents at scale at AI because you can train AI to have different propaganda techniques, and then you can at scale deploy it out for your nation state or against a nation state. And so uh, I think this is really going to become heavily weaponized, and I think it has been weaponized. I really don't appreciate that the public narrative here is that the government's just now finding out about AI. They're just now finding out about technology. So military applications and federal applications of technologies, they have it 10, 20 years before the public has it. So they've had AI for quite a while at this point now, and they've been using it, and now they're playing dumb like they're just now figuring it out. And so I don't really appreciate the dishonesty with that. um, and it could be that the presidential cabinet might be just now personally inter facing with it, but I reassure you, the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, other alphabet soup, they've been using this stuff for a very long time now, without your knowledge, right?
absolutely.
So yeah, so I don't appreciate the playing dumb here, but just the same, I think that the way we ought to, as technologists, view AI, we can't be afraid of using it, but we have to treat it like a loaded gun, right? Like you don't point a loaded gun at anyone you don't intend to pull trigger on. So, like I think every way we use AI needs to be thoughtful. It needs to be understanding that this has the power to really seriously scramble some numbers. And so we need to wield it with power, and people are going to abuse it. But the
Yep.
only way to be a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. And so I think that goes for AI. The only way to beat like a bad hacker is a good hacker who can white hat and secure a system, is use AI appropriately so you can basically beat a bad AI with game theory, right? And that this will
Absolutely.
affect Bitcoin quite a bit, because AI will be used for Bitcoin trading.
Yep.
AI is currently used for Bitcoin trading. It's being integrated into trading bots to help look at multiple different data sets and keep it, tuned so that it's picking up on indicators. So this is very, very, very related to Bitcoin and will heavily impact the way price action behaves. So
So just like a motor is a force multiplier of a muscle,
yeah.
AI is a force multiplier of processes and thought processes. So it's not a equal to the thoughts of minds or the intelligence of a human because it's humans building this out. Just remember that whenever you see AI come out, and just use the scientific method to validate, is what I'm being fed by this AI true or not? Validate it. Have a theory, get out there, prove it.
Yeah. So that's the show we have for today. I hope everyone enjoyed and is ready for this next week, because we're gonna have an interesting week here. Until next time, I am the Data Lord. This is Jaime. We are Decentralized TV, and this has been Crypto and Coffee.
I love
So you might be expecting music, and you would be right. You would be
it.
right.
We're
But
here to
are you
serve,
right?
guys.
Are you right is my only question. I don't know. You could be. You could be.
We are right. You are right. in control.
Monday music, baby. Go out there and do what you're gonna do.
Stay alert.
Go on and do what you're gonna do.
Stay alert, everyone. Let's continue building. The future is better.
Ooh, that's Monday music, baby. You better get out there and do what you're gonna do, girl. Do what you're gonna do. I feel like I've been waiting here forever. I'm problem solving, trying to figure something clever. Busy grinding out these weeks and nights of straight 16s. Thinking futures for our kids, our mamas, and our queens. I really mean it when I say power to the people. No more blind, follow blind, thinking wicked, dying evil. We got problems standing 10 feet tall like those from Gath. Call it David, meek Goliath. Gonna feel God's wrath. I'm on the right trajectory, you know I do that math. Let's go.
Stay alert.